Welcome everyone! My learning goal for my HOD capstone internship was to understand how front of house and back of house operations intersect within M Street Entertainment Group's restaurants. To demonstrate that concept, we will be making cinnamon rolls. To start off with the cinnamon rolls, we will first add cream. By adding yeast to the cream, we start our rising agent in order to get the cinnamon rolls to have a nice airy texture. You then add your eggs and begin to mix. Once you begin to mix, add melted butter, sugar, and gradually incorporate the flour into the dough. The dough should begin to come together, but will still be tacky, sticking to the sides of the bowl. This dough is the foundation of the cinnamon rolls. Like the kitchen in M Street's restaurants, the dough is good on its own, but it's even better when you add the cinnamon filling. Allow the dough to rest for 5 to 7 minutes after you have incorporated all of the flour. This allows the dough to absorb all of the moisture, giving it its elasticity. Street's kitchens have both lateral and vertical hierarchies. The kitchen manager, chef de cuisine, and executive chefs sit at the top of the pyramid, working with prep cooks and sous chefs accordingly to prepare all orders. All chefs must be able to adequately fulfill their roles while remaining flexible to fulfill the needs of the kitchen as a whole. Once the dough has rested, remove the paddle and add the dough hook attachment. Knead the dough on medium for 7 minutes. Kneading dough incorporates air, giving the rolls a light texture. In M Street's restaurants, working with the dough is like working out the kinks in the kitchen. When a new kitchen comes together, the chefs, line cooks, and dishwashers have to learn how to work as a team. The back of house's ability to work as a team drives the efficiency of the restaurant. A server cannot turn over a table unless the guest's food has been delivered, making the kitchen team essential to the guest experience. Once your dough has been kneaded, remove it and put it in a greased bowl. You'll then cover the bowl and set it in a warm place, allowing the dough to rise for 30 minutes. Use the time your dough is rising to multitask by making the cinnamon filling. The cinnamon filling is M Street's front of house. It adds flavors to your roll, taking them to the next level. Start by adding your butter to the mixer. Turn your mixer on medium. Then gradually add in the brown sugar and the cinnamon. Your butter should only be halfway melted so that your cinnamon filling has a nice solid texture while remaining spreadable. Allow it to mix until completely incorporated. M Street's front of house is made up of hosts, servers, server assistants, bartenders, and managers. The managers are jacks of all trades, pushing their team to grow and hone their skills. The hosts get the guests to their tables, the servers assist guests throughout their meal, the SAs are the backbone of the guest experience, and of course, the bartenders provide much-needed libations. When the front of house team works in harmony, they are able to execute exceptional service. Each M Street concept has a different flair for its front of house service, but they are all rooted in M Street's dedication to the exceptional guest experience. When you've made your filling, prep your workspace, where you'll be rolling out your dough. Lay wax paper over the area, then sprinkle flour over the wax paper. The flour ensures that the dough does not stick to the wax paper by reducing friction. When the dough sticks to the wax paper, you will have trouble rolling the dough into your rolls. M Street strives for smooth transitions between the front of house and back of house team members. Reducing friction by enabling quality communication is essential, just like flour on wax paper. M Street uses a point-of-sale system called Aloha to automate communication between the kitchen and those on the floor. In times of tension, M Street, however, is flexible, allowing front-of-house team members to communicate with the back-of-house team directly. This communication ensures that all needs are met promptly, allowing you to carelessly enjoy your queso. When your workspace is prepped, place your risen dough on the wax paper, sprinkle flour on the dough, and begin to roll it out. The goal is to roll out the dough with a consistent width. This takes time, so be patient. M Street values consistency, but it has taken 17 years to build up consistent service. Throughout the years, M Street has learned to iterate, taking existing concepts and modifying them to meet guests' changing desires. This ability to embrace the ambiguity of guest desires and to value iteration has allowed M Street to grow into one of Nashville's premier hospitality groups. Once your dough is rolled out, begin to spread the filling. Adding front-of-house service to core back-of-house operations rounds out M Street's ability to meet guest needs. However, when the front of house is spread too thin, they begin to fail to meet guest needs. Orders are not placed, guests wait for water refills, and food comes out late. Be sure to spread the cinnamon evenly, ensuring the perfect ratio in every roll. Spreading out your front of house team allows all guests to have a comparable experience, heightening the overall level of service M Street is able to provide. Once you have spread your filling, begin to roll your dough. Use the roll, pull, and tuck method to tightly roll the dough so that the cinnamon is infused into the dough and does not ooze out. If you didn't add enough flour, your dough may stick to your wax paper. If it sticks to your wax paper, roll with the punches. This friction just means you'll have to communicate a little bit more between the front of house and back of house next time when you're trying to deliver service to your guest. Once you have rolled up the dough, pinch the edges so that the cinnamon does not ooze out when you cut the rolls. When you bring your cast iron skillet over, begin to cut your rolls 1 inch to 1.5 inches apart. This will ensure that the dough is able to rise for an extra 20 minutes once you have placed them in the pan, allowing the cinnamon rolls to puff up, giving them an airy texture. I like to use a cast iron skillet when making cinnamon rolls because the cast iron heats evenly and caramelizes the sugar at the bottom of the rolls, giving them a nice added crunch. Additionally, it's more fun when all of the cinnamon rolls are together in a circle and all spread out evenly together. They begin to lap over one another, and you know that you've done a great job with your yeast because your cinnamon rolls are rising appropriately. Place your rolls in the cast iron skillet close together so that they are able to rise. They rise by pushing up against one another. I put mine in a circle and then put some of the cinnamon rolls in the middle. The close-knit bond of the cinnamon rolls is similar to that of the teams in many of M Street's restaurants. When you are working together day and night to provide exceptional service to your guests, team members often become like family. Just like the cinnamon rolls when they're all together in the cast iron skillet. As you can see, the front of house and back of house teams are fully integrated. Next, we add the secret sauce, which is heavy whipping cream that will allow the cinnamon rolls to remain gooey as they continue to rise and bake. This is like M Street's values. They anchor both front of house and back of house teams across concepts. This is the overarching umbrella that makes M Street, its foundational values. Once again, cover the rolls with a cloth and allow them to rise an additional 30 minutes. Once they've risen, put them in the oven and bake them at 375 for 20 minutes. While your rolls are baking, prep your icing. Start by adding cream cheese to your mixer, mixing it on medium heat to whip it. Then add brown butter. The pastry chef at M Street, Chef Nasera, says that brown butter is her secret recipe. Don't tell anyone that I told you. Once you've added the brown butter, continue to whip your brown butter and cream cheese, and then gently incorporate your powdered sugar, adding in vanilla and whipping until it's smooth. Voila! Now you have cinnamon rolls. Once your cinnamon rolls have begun to cool, mix up your icing once again so that it remains a whipped texture. And then begin to spread your icing all over the cinnamon rolls. Sometimes it's nice to do this while it's hot so that the icing continues to ooze into the rolls, filling all of the cracks and crevices, and really adding that extra touch to the rolls. The rolls themselves are sweet, but why not add icing, something even sweeter? At M Street, I would say that the icing on top is the support center. I've had the pleasure of working in the support center over this past semester, and the support center does a lot to ensure that M Street stays true to its values and remains consistent across concepts. This is anything from the HR services they're able to provide to the marketing campaigns to the culinary director's innovation within each of the concepts. Now that your cinnamon rolls are ready, it's time to enjoy. They look great. They're nice and gooey and fluffy. The perfect cinnamon roll. Just like one of M Street's restaurants, the perfect cinnamon roll takes a lot of time and patience, making sure that you incorporate the cinnamon and the dough perfectly so that front of house and back of house operations mix together seamlessly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll come back and join me next semester. Who knows what we will learn on the journey that is HOD.